So I was just telling everybody that yesterday, or no, the day before, I made a batch of keto peanut butter cups, Reese peanut butter cups that are sugar-free. And this is one option that people might want to try if they want some Halloween treats and they're concerned about their blood sugar levels. So that's on my page if you guys want to see it. Alyssa, thanks for joining us here. I just want to start by, as a kid, I was, and I still am, so addicted to sugar. It's insane. When I was a kid, I remember trick-or-treating, going home, and sorting out that candy in order of importance for me. Chocolates were at the top of the list, and then it went down. And I used to eat, I don't know, looking back on that, I probably ate, I don't know, a couple of cups of sugar in that evening. And I know a lot of people still do that. And let's talk about it. What can we do to mitigate this?
Yes. So Halloween, it's such a fun day of the year. And, you know, when we talk about eating sugar, like it's okay to have a little bit of sweets and candy. But when we talk about excess sugar consumption over time, that's really what's going to help, you know, lead to, you know, weight gain and metabolic syndrome and increase our risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease and even tooth decay. And we think about added sugars and what the recommendations are. I want to get into this because then I want to talk about Halloween and like what we can do. But the American Heart Association recommends no more than 9 teaspoons of added sugars per day for men and no more than 6 teaspoons of added sugars per day for women. But the average American consumes 17 teaspoons of added sugar per day. That's almost 3 times the amount of recommendations for the women. So we want to make sure that we are really, you know, controlling our sugar intake, and there's things that we can do. But on Halloween, our favorite time of the year, do you know how many cups of sugar that we are consuming, like the average, you know, American consumes per night?
I can't imagine, but like I said, when I was binging on this stuff, I don't know if you got a stat on that.
Yes, almost 3 cups worth of sugar.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about some healthy Halloween tips that you know, that we can implement to make sure that we're enjoying Halloween and then we're also like controlling our sugar intake. And the first thing that we want to do is to make sure that we are not skipping our meals throughout the day. This is really important because we want to make sure that we're eating healthy, balanced meals so that we are stabilizing our blood sugar and we're not starving by nighttime to where we are more likely to crave those sugar, the sweets, the candy, and overeat. So make sure that you're eating your breakfast, eating lunch, eating dinner, you're balancing your meals with vegetables, protein, healthy fats, and that you're drinking plenty of water. That's the first thing. So you don't want to start your day just skipping all of your meals.
Yep.
The next thing, which may be really, really surprising, is that, and even coming from me as a dietitian, you know, I'm going to say, eat the candy. You know, choose your favorite candy. Maybe it's a fun size portion and eat it, and eat it mindfully. So this is sitting down, maybe once you're back from trick-or-treating, sitting at a table, not distracted, you know, chewing it really slowly. I typically recommend taking that first bite and just chew it very, very slowly so you're getting your mind and headspace to just enjoy it and not scarf it down before you know it, it's gone. You didn't even realize that you ate it. And that's going to help, you know, one thing is going to help, it's going to help delay that spike, and maybe you'll see a smaller spike. And it's also going to increase your enjoyment and satisfaction with that candy. And when we have this mindset of we can't have any candy, whether it's Halloween or it's just any event that you're going to, you can't have any sweets, we tend to fixate on it. And we tend to, you know, want to, you know, we desire it more and more and more when we know that we can't have it. And that may lead to overeating. That may lead to intense cravings. So I'm just going to say, pick your favorite candy and just enjoy it.
Right. Yeah, I think it's so important. Like you said, don't skip any meals. I like to, when I know I'm going to be confronted with high calorie foods, highly caloric dense foods, like chocolates and candies and stuff like that, I usually try to make sure that I have eaten an adequate amount of protein and fiber before I do that, or before I even come in contact with it. It really works with regard to those cravings.
Yeah.
And if I have like a salad and some eggs or something, or a decent meal that has this high amount of fiber and protein in it, and then even if I have like desserts in front of me, I'm not going to overdo it on those desserts because I feel satiated. And the worst thing that I can do for myself is to eat sweets on an empty stomach, because I'm going to fill up on those sweets. So I've been reading some interesting stats on caloric density and some studies that were done in the UK regarding the amount of weight that people eat in food each day. So typically people will eat between 3 and 5 pounds per day. And that's regardless of whether these are high caloric dense foods or low calorie foods. So whether you're eating vegetables or chocolate bars, most people have a set point where they're eating a certain weight in food every day. So with that in mind, I said, okay, I would rather eat this broccoli, which is high, it's high weight. It's like it's nutritionally good. It's got all the vitamins and minerals, but it's low. It's not calorie dense. So I can eat a pound of broccoli, and that's about 200 calories, or I can eat one Snickers chocolate bar, which is 250 calories. Which one is going to make me feel full for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, it's the caloric density. And that goes back to what you're saying, is if you're eating a balanced meal before that, you're filling yourself up. There's actually bulk in your digestive system.
Yes.
And those receptors in your stomach tell your brain that your stomach is stretched and that you don't need much more food. So I think that is the key for this for me, is make sure that you've got some food in your stomach that's decent protein and fiber before you indulge in this stuff.
Absolutely. One thing that we always talk about is the meal order. So if you are having, let's say, a Milky Way, that's something that you want to have it on Halloween, it's totally fine. But what you can try to take it a step further is to try to eat fiber, like you mentioned, broccoli, beforehand. So if you start your meal off with the broccoli, and then maybe you have the Milky Way afterwards, you're going to see much less of a spike. That fiber is going to help fill you up as well, and it's going to not only you're able to eat more because it's fewer calories, but it's filled with nutrients, which are sending these amazing messages to your cells. So when you start your meal off with those vegetables, then you have your Milky Way, you're going to see much less of a spike. And our members have actually done this. They have, and I know you have done something very similar too, where they tried 2 Milky Ways, large spike. Protein and 2 Milky Ways, large spike again. Fiber, like broccoli, 2 Milky Ways, much less of a spike. Yep. So, trying to find where we're not depriving ourselves, where maybe you're enjoying a little bit of the sweet, but you're incorporating the fiber. And even better is afterwards going for a walk. So if you're with your kids, you're out, Halloween, and you're walking around the neighborhood, that's going to be a great thing to do as well.
Yeah, you're so right and I've done these tests with the broccoli before eating a Snickers bar. I isolated all of these things. They say protein, fats, and fibers before in your food order, and then your carbs after, or your sugars after. Out of all 3 of those, the fibers in the vegetables had the most significant impact in lowering that blood sugar spike for me. So it really rings true there. And I've been using it lately. I just cook up a big batch. I like roasted broccoli. I like the cruciferous vegetables. And I said, if I want to try to include more of these in my diet, what's the best way for me to do it? Preparation on these foods takes a little bit longer than opening a chocolate bar does. You have to prepare the broccoli. So I roast a big batch in the oven, and then I put it in Tupperware, and I just add it to my meals throughout the week, even breakfast. And I find that when I do this for breakfast, I am satiated more so for the rest of the day than if I have like a carbohydrate rich breakfast without these fibers.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So trying to incorporate as many vegetables, as much fiber as possible. Even if you get into your breakfast, that's bonus. Like, we would love for people to have fiber, at every meal of breakfast. I know it can be hard, but exactly what you're doing, batch cooking, buying a veggie tray, just having the fridge to grab from, like, these are very simple things that you can do so that you are prepared, because we know if we're on that blood sugar roller coaster, you're not going to want to spend the time to cook and think. You may not be able to think as clearly. You may have that brain fog, you may have those cravings. So we want to make sure that we are really like prepared ahead of time to incorporate that fiber. One other thing too that I want to mention when it comes to Halloween is that if you happen to overeat on the candy, or you take your kids candy and you have a few bites, or you're eating more than expected, then that's okay. That's okay. This is not something that we're doing every single night. Don't dwell on it. Just say, okay, I had more than I expected. I may not feel as great. So tomorrow I'm going to focus on lots of veggies, getting those veggies in for breakfast, lots of movement, strength training to take in that glucose into the muscles, or any type of exercise, lots of water, focus on the next day and like being, as healthy as you can be to help stabilize your blood sugar, but not to just, feel bad. Just don't feel bad over it.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. Yeah. When you go down that road of feeling guilty, or it makes you feel bad. When you feel bad, what do? You crave sweets to make yourself feel better. It's a downward spiral for a lot of people, including myself. So yeah, that's really good advice.
And there's lots of healthy options too. Like, there's healthier options for candies out there. So exactly like what you did, making your own peanut butter cups, like low sugar, that is a great thing to have. So even if you want to make something ahead of time, that's always a healthier option, like during Halloween times. Or even if you want to choose like a really good quality dark chocolate and have that, eat it slowly, that's something else that you can try on Halloween. But I always like to say, try to focus on the fun aspects of Halloween, the dressing up, or going on a walk, or spending time with your family, looking at carving pumpkins, looking at different house decorations, instead of just fixating on the food. That can also help.
It's true. It is such a fun time of year, watching all the kids dress up. My mom still decorates the house. She's in her late 70s, still decorates the house with all these jack-o'-lanterns and witches. It's a great time, and there's a lot of treats to be had. Thanks, Alyssa, for the advice here. It's timely and spot on. I want to remind everybody that if you're interested in getting the glucose monitor, Signos is offering a 20% discount through the link in my bio. If you're interested, check it out. And I hope you and everybody out there has a happy Halloween tonight.
Yes, happy Halloween. Be healthy out there. Thanks for having me.